Welcome back to Homa Studio. In this video, we're going to review how to do an image adjustment to correct a color cast in Photopea, meaning an image which is too yellow and we want to cool it. And we're going to use Photo Filter. You could do that in Photopea or you can do it in Photoshop, but we're going to show how to do that in Photopea. So let's get started. This will be very quick. Here's my Google Images again, and I'm going to click on it so that it opens the larger image. Now keep in mind, the Google Images may not be as large as the original images when you copy them to Photopea, but anyway, this is my image here, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to copy image like we did on the first video. And I'm going to go to Photopea and I'm going to make a new project. And you can do that by going File, New, or you can hit this button right here. That'll work. And it'll take the size of what I just copied. So it's about 2000 by 1500 about. And I'll just hit create. And again, when it does that, it creates kind of a blank canvas, but it is the size of what you copied. And what we're going to do is just paste our image in there. And I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to do Command V. And it'll get pasted as a layer. Now I'm looking at my channels right now. Let me look at my layers. And there it is. It's called Layer 1. Now I don't have to change the name right now if I'm not going to do anything else with it. I know it's not the background and I know this is the image. I'm not going to put any more layers on top of it. So leaving it as Layer 1 is fine. But what I could do is double click here and save my PSD file in case I want to do more with it, which I will. So I'm going to call this Dogs Yellow because it's starting off yellow. And I'll hit OK. Remember, we don't have to put .psd because it'll put it there automatically. So I'll hit OK. Now, just changing the name doesn't mean it's saved to our computer yet. So I'm going to go File, Save as PSD, and I'll just save it to my desktop because that's what I did on the last video. I'll just save it on my desktop, and I'll hit Save. And now it's saved to my computer. And now every time I make changes, I can go to File, Save. But what I want to do is crop this and get rid of the yellow. That's it. So I'm going to go to my arrow tool, or my move tool, as they call it, in Photopea and Photoshop. And I'll zoom out a little bit. Now, if you're not sure how to zoom out, just go to View, and you can see zoom in is Command plus, zoom out is Command minus. And if you're on Windows, it would be Control instead of Command. And I think you could even do Control on a Mac sometimes in Photopea since it's on the web. Let me see. Yeah, that'll work. So Control plus minus. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. And then again, I'm going to click on here and I'm going to click on my layer. If you ever don't see this, make sure you have transform controls on. And if for whatever reason you have transform controls on and you're on your move tool and you're like, I still don't see this, make sure you're on the layer. So make sure you target the layer. And now I'm just going to grab it on the corner and just move it. You don't have to hold shift. You could just drag it on the corner. And I'm just going to make these guys bigger so they kind of fill up my area, my original area. So I'm not changing my size of my original image. I'm just making them bigger. So I'm bringing them in there. And you can see there's all kinds of background stuff. It's in a kitchen. There's a garbage can. There's cabinets. There's an oven back there. So we may want to do something with that and make these guys stand out a little bit. But right now I'm just scaling them and moving them around a little bit so they're sitting nicely in the center. And whenever you scale something by dragging on this, you can hit the checkbox or hit return. And I'll do that. And if you want to turn that off, that's fine. I think you could still move it around if you want. You just can't scale it. You won't see the bounding box to scale it. Now, what we're going to do is address this color cast, which is very yellow right now, which happens indoors. It can also happen under fluorescent lights indoors. I think these are just warmer lights in here, but they look very warm. If we saw this picture here, they look very warm compared to a lot of the other images here, because it might have been at night or something, but we'll fix that so they don't look so yellow. And first of all, make sure that you're targeting the layer and go to Image, Adjustments, and we're going to go down to Photo Filter, but we're just going to cool it. We're going to put a cooling filter on it. So I'll go to Photo Filter, and by default, it puts an orangey filter on, and I'm just going to click on the color right here and put a blue color on. Now you can move around in here so it's not such an electric blue, but it shouldn't matter because we can adjust how much we use. But if you want to make it a little grayer, that's fine. I'll hit OK. Remember to hit OK first because these windows are both open. You have to OK the color first. So OK the color, and now it's very bluish, almost grayish. And this is the amount, 80%. And again, this is the original. This is what it looks like now. And what's nice is you could just kind of adjust this to your needs. And I'll move it down. I don't want it really bluish. I don't want it so orangish, but I'm just going to move it up here so it looks a little more natural. And I can click preview on and off, and that kind of takes it down. It looks a little nicer. I mean, that dog is still a warmer color, and this dog still has some cooler areas in it. And if that's ever too much, you can always keep this dog out of what you're doing, but I'll show that in a later video. But just right now, that's all we're doing is just adding a kind of a blue photo filter, turning it down to 20%, and adjusting it like that. And I'll hit OK, and that's perfect. And I can go here and do File, Save, and that'll save my PSD that I was working on. And if you want to send somebody a JPEG of this and say, look at the cute dogs sitting in the kitchen, now that you color corrected it and it didn't look so yellow, you can go File, Export as JPEG, and it's still called Dogs Yellow. Maybe you could just say Dogs Kitchen, because someone might look at it and say, why does it say Dogs Yellow? We'll put Dogs Kitchen. And if you wanted to make it any smaller, you could, or you could leave it the same size. I like to put it at 80%, so I'll do that. And this will download a JPEG to my downloads. So if I hit save, there's Dog's Kitchen. It's now my downloads. If I go find it, downloads, Dog's Kitchen, there it is. And that's all you have to do. Now we're going to do more with this because I want to show you how to select these guys and change the background if you want to. Now that's a little more work. You can do it with a mask. You can do it with some of these lasso tools. I think I'm going to start with the lasso tools first and let you work with that. And then eventually we'll use masks because that's a little more efficient because you can change masks and soften the edges and all that. But eventually what you might want to do is something like this, and I'll just go File, Open, because I think I have a finished version that I was working with. Here's Dog's Kitchen. And it's not the Dog's Kitchen JPEG, that's in my downloads. This is Dog's Kitchen PSD, the Photoshop file. And you could do something like this. You can see what I did here. I blurred the background and I even turned down the saturation. I turned it down so it's a little more grayish so that the dogs stand out a little bit more. And then I blurred it so you don't see like garbage cans and cabinets. They really stand out. And I'll show you how to do that. There's a lot of cool ways we could do that with selections, with some of these lasso tools, with magnetic lassos. That's one way to do it. You can also do it with masks where you actually paint over a selection. And I found in Photopea that the quick select tool, the one where you could kind of just paint over and it makes a selection, is a little hard to use in here. I haven't had good results with it so far, so I'll keep working with that. But that's what we might want to get to. And notice you can open up two Photoshop files. This is Dog's Kitchen PSD, another one that I worked on, and this is the one I just worked on with you right now. So that's fixing a color cast. And remember, it was image, adjustments, photo filter, and if you want to cool it, you can choose a cool color like blue. If you want to warm it up for whatever reason, you want to make a, red cast, you could do something like that. You can colorize an image that way too. That's why it's called photo filter. But if you have an image that's too cool, you could warm it up a little bit. So lots of cool things you could do here. I'm going to close this up. I'm not going to use that. So that was just correcting our image. So when we first started, it looked like this. This is the history palette over here, by the way. And when we opened it, we didn't have anything there because we pasted it. And then we pasted our image and we changed the name. And then we did a transform. We made them bigger. And then we used our photo filter and it looks like this. So this is kind of the way it started and the way it finished up. A lot better. And if you wanted to crop it, you can go over here to the crop tool. Going down here, it's this one, crop tool. And it makes a little kind of grid box. If you just want to shorten it, maybe you just want to focus on their upper body a little bit and do something like that, have more of a landscape kind of orientation going on here. You could just do that. You can hit the checkbox just like you do when you scale, or you could hit enter. And now you have a cropped version. Now I'd have to save this again as a JPEG, which I could. I can go File, Export as JPEG. And I can do Dog's Kitchen, and I'll just put cropped, just so it's different. So I don't save the same one, and it puts a 1 after it. But I'll just do that, and I'll hit save. And now I have Dog's Kitchen cropped. When I go to my downloads, there's Dog's Kitchen cropped. There's Dog's Kitchen. So now I have two versions. So that's it. That's working with a color cast in Photopea. And we're going to keep working in Photopea. The next video I'm going to do is show you how to make yellow teeth white using kind of the same method that we did here, although we're going to add levels to it, and we're going to use our lasso tool to both add to selections and subtract. So we're just going to focus on yellow teeth in our next video, adjusting a yellow color cast.